So what's the secret behind Oklahoma's offense? Well, there's a lot that goes into winning softball and winning a national championship for sure, and even in putting together an offense. But I will tell you for certain that one of their key elements is how hard they hit the ball in games. Exit velocity is paramount. That is the number one statistic. I really don't care what anybody says. There's such a dramatic difference when the ball starts coming off the bat harder. And so what is exit velocity? Well, it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of your perfect timing, trying to get the pitch timed up perfectly. It's trying to align all of your swing movements perfectly. So in other words, you are timing your body parts to be in sync and then match up that timing with perfect timing of the pitch. And then there's also the idea of hitting the ball perfectly solid. 100-100 is the mantra that they go by. That's the effective velocity concept of being 100% on time with 100% of your most powerful and efficient swing. But it's really three things. It's really 300s. 100% on time, 100% mechanically efficient, but also 100% perfect contact, quality of contact. So you're trying to be 100. You're trying to be 100% on time with your perfect swing and make perfect contact. Now the truth is those three things almost never happen. It's almost physically impossible to have all of those things happen at once. But one of the big key factors to the quality of contact is what happens at the moment of impact. This is from the sports science episode that Jenny Finch was on. And yours truly was on. I was the one of the baseball scientists on this episode. But this is 2,400 pounds of force that they calculated when this baseball at 90 miles an hour hits this plexiglass measuring device. And you'll see some vibration, but you don't see it break. And then Jenny Finch's first pitch breaks the machine. She breaks that because the force of a 68 mile an hour softball is greater than the force of a 90 mile an hour fastball. And that's just the simple physics of it. So the other thing to consider is the fact that softball bats are lighter than baseball bats. So that the softball is heavier than a baseball. The softball bat is lighter than a baseball bat. And so there's a lot of give at impact if your body is not perfectly locking out at the right moment. So this is an example of nowhere near 100% quality contact. This ball is hit right in the middle. The bat hits the ball right in the middle, but it's not anywhere near the sweet spot. And so you see this tremendous amount of vibration. Watch what happens when this ball hits. You see the bat bend. You see the bat get buried into his hands. And then you see all that vibration in his wrists and forearms. So everywhere that energy goes, once it hits the bat, it's either going to go right back to the ball, or some of it's going to be lost at the moment of impact, kind of like a bunt. In a good bunt, you create shock absorbers in the body, so the ball comes in and it comes off really softly. But in a hit, you don't want that. So anytime that there's going to be a loss of energy at impact, it's going to cost you. And it's even more important in softball because of the heavier ball hitting the lighter bat. One of the key factors behind Oklahoma's success is their mantra. They're chasing 100-100, meaning they are constantly trying to achieve 100% on-time contact with 100% of their most powerful and most efficient swing. Now, realistically, there's one more 100 in there, and that is the quality of contact. Getting a round bat to hit in the middle of a round ball and hit it absolutely perfect. Now, the truth is those things almost never happen. In this case, this was the second, I believe, hardest hit ball in the entire tournament. I think it was around 82 or 83 miles per hour of exit velocity. I don't think it ever got over about 20 feet off the ground. This ball was absolutely smashed. Was it perfect? No. But it is so close, who cares, right? It's actually airs on the side that I prefer, which is when you miss a little bit underneath it with that really close to perfect swing, this is the result of a really great miss. Now, this is about as close as you can get on a miss hit. And the reason, look at how long this ball is in line. It is in line. Her barrel is on plane in a head-on collision. She could hit this ball all the way back here, 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 here. Anywhere along there, she's going to make really solid contact. It isn't perfect until she gets to there. So she's just a very, very little bit late, maybe 6 to 10 inches late. But it's so near perfect. And the reason that I want to describe that is because it's important to know what perfect is if you're ever going to be able to measure it. And if you can't measure it, you can't get better. And that's the whole point. So let's take a look at this. The pitch is coming in at 0 degrees. You can see it pass right through this 0. And then she's going to make contact with it. The goal of 100-100 contact is to be at 10 degrees. She's at 15. So she barely misses absolute perfect contact. Now, why is 10 degrees where you want to go? Because all of the hits happen between 30 degrees and minus 10. A really high percentage, over 80% of hits happen in that area. So 10 degrees is the magic middle, exact middle of those two areas. So if you're trying to hit it at 10 degrees, guess what? You miss it all the time, about 40% of the time underneath and about 40% of the time above the center, hitting these rocket ground balls. And if you look at Oklahoma's offense, about 40% of their offense is really hard low line drives and hard ground balls. That is a huge important factor to realize, because the whole world has been telling us for a long time now, no, you can't hit ground balls. They're terrible. Well, it depends on your kind of ground ball. If you're creating an uppercut like this, trying to hit it at 30 degrees, then the ground balls that you hit will be terrible. They'll be the kind that almost never result in a hit. But when you're Oklahoma and you're in line with that pitch forever, guess what? Your ground balls are rockets. And that's why their batting average on ground balls is off the chart. Because they're not trying to hit ground balls. They're just ensuring that when they do, they hit them as hard as physically possible. The other great miss hit that happens is this. When you miss it, and it's somewhere between 10 and 30 degrees or even 40 degrees, you've got a really good chance to hit homers. That's why they lead the world in homers. Not because they're trying to hit them, because they're taking advantage of 100-100 contact. Here's another great example of 100-100 contact. Now, is this ball hit perfect? No. But when the swing goal is to be 100% on time with 100% of your most mechanical swing, trying to hit the ball as close to absolutely perfect as possible, then your miss hits are really good. And that's what this is. This is a really great happy accident. When we put the graphics up here, we'll take a look at this again. So you'll see the ball come in. It's about 0 degrees, meaning it's very flat. Her barrel is in line with the pitch now, and it stays in line all the way through that moment of impact. And she misses the ball. Remember, the goal of 100-100 contact is to hit it at 10 degrees. But she hits this at roughly 30 degrees. So it carries out of the yard a long ways out of the yard, in fact. But if the goal is 10, then that means she missed it by about 20 degrees. And yet still, it's a really great thing to have happen. The rest of the world is trying to swing in a fashion that creates this kind of swing line. In other words, they're trying to swing up, and their concept of on plane is to try to get to that plane with the barrel. And that means absolutely nothing. That your odds of hitting a ball out of the yard are about 1. It's realistically about 1 in 25. But let's be kind and say that you're going to be 100% on time, about 1 in 10. When you do what Tiara Jennings is doing here, and you're in line with the pitch for this period of time, you're going to hit about 40% up and about 40% down, meaning you're going to be below center or above center about half the time. This one happens to be one that she's just barely underneath center with that same great swing plane. And she hits it at 30 degrees, and it carries a long, long ways because it's the optimum amount of exit velocity added to backspin. So there is a magic number of how much backspin should you have and how much exit velocity can you lose, because this is deflected. Anytime the ball doesn't go exactly in the same line as the bat, it's deflected, right? And so this ball would be going somewhere around 5 to 10 degrees if she were to hit it perfect. But she misses it a little bit, but it's, again, a very happy accident. It's a very good miss. So when you get down to the nth degree, 100-100 almost never happens. But it's the goal of trying to be 100-100 that allows you to miss the ball this good. This is a miss hit. It's a very cool, very long miss hit. But nonetheless, this is a miss hit.